22nd of May again. I'm sorry I was not able to make it in 5 minutes. Probably with experience, perhaps I will get better at it. So I will cut in this presentation physically if it is required, or if not digitally. But there is one little aspect I forgot about IMEC director, is that the numbers of IMEC members is something like 250 aroundish, and if each of you see these kind of videos, then most of the directors in the past years have been of big companies. Now, the small companies in IMEC did not have much voice because we were not much trained into the statutes, the directors, how you have to be twice in the AGMs in order to be presented as director. Because if this time the AGM is digital, then this is kind of like ice broken now in the statutes, so they will have to be reviewed. For example, most of the directors previously have been of these big companies, but the small and medium companies in IMEC do have a huge weight and huge volume and are hugely competitive. This is seen today in this coronavirus crisis. Therefore, perhaps having more small members or medium growing members like my candidacy, it could be better to represent these huge numbers of members, and that the intrinsic value that each of us could generate could be my little ideas, zero, but perhaps other members can write something and then add up to what it is very interesting for us. It could be from software development for the industry. It could be, for example, for the travel, how important it is. Seafarers have 40 kilos, they have priority pass in the queues in Miami, in the queues in Houston, in the queues everywhere in the world. They have diplomats, and then why not have seafarers also the fast lane? This is something very important for the industry. Then also another important area is that the unfair competition we have from local governments making recruitment and placement tasks from the public sector into the private sector. And this is unfair competition. This is something that we as United Voice must say, now listen governments, you cannot go into private and recruitment agencies because this is the private sector that has control. If we allow these public entities enter into our sector, then we are eliminated out of the system. And then perhaps it would be a monopolistic situation whereby they take away money from the seafarers. There's many countries in the world that this is happening, because if they ask the public sector you to go through a public window, they will probably ask you to pay. Whilst we don't believe that having seafarers paying it is due diligence. We believe that the seafarers have to have transparent, free of cost services, and we have to continue in that way. Now, we have, for example, in Panama heard that the government is going to make a recruitment and placement competition, and also in Honduras that the cruise sector is signing contracts with governments, and this is really not fair, because the next step is that they will ask money from the seafarers, and also, like for example in Honduras, they ask the labor unions to be approved as recruitment and placement agencies. And also, it's not a public sector, is it the private sector, or is it in between? Well, that's not really clear, and it has to be very clear, because then we have also competition from the labor unions. So everybody is competing with crew managers, and then the transparency of the entity is not clear-cut. This is a conflict of interest. This is one of the little areas that I forgot to mention before, and now that the IMEC director position is not available in this AGM, or could be, perhaps it is a way to show how it could be done in the future, and I would be very happy to receive your videos of candidacy from IMEC, so that then we could study with transparency who is the best candidate for these positions. Also, in IMEC, this have to be changed every year, the directors, because we have to add the intrinsic value that all of us provide. And it's not because of the personal goal, as I mentioned before, it's because of the intrinsic value of the association. The Crew Management Association can be huge potential to explain short companies, short bureaucracy, short employment agreements, enlistment contracts, wage scales, health issues, blah, 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 how we are doing it and how it can be done at shore. So I believe it is very important, and I thank very much IMEC that they have a digital AGM, but then the elections also have to be digital, so that since 20th of April we could have changed directors and then have new goals, like I mentioned, out of these 20 points. Thank you very much indeed. Any comments you have, please write them below, and I would very kindly reply to them. Thank you. Bye.